Let's talk about our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. Tonight, President Trump will address the economy and talk about inflation and how it's hit every American and the savings that we have lost just staying up to this inflation by Bidenomics. Now, if you've got some investments that you'd like to protect, why not transfer it into gold, silver, and precious metals? And that's where the Birch Gold Group comes in. They made it really simple to take that first step. All you have to do is text the words Trump to 989898 and get that free information kit to invest in gold, silver, and precious metals. Now, we've had thousands of viewers reach out and really say, look, help me get through some of these tough times and let me sleep a little bit better at night knowing that my investments won't go away like that. The Birch Gold Group, text the words Trump to 989898 for that free information kit. A+ Better Business Bureau. So they've got a good track record. And of course, they'll tell you how to transition a traditional IRA into a gold-backed IRA. It's as simple as that. The information for that is on your screen. The Birch Gold Group, a proud sponsor for tonight's program.
The invocation, so if everyone would please bow their heads. Heavenly Father, we gather here in celebration and anticipation of the event before us. We humbly ask your blessings on those who have gathered here tonight. We're truly grateful for those who stand guard over us, the members of our military, our police force, and our first responders. May you hold them in your hands and protect them, for we live in troubling times. We pray for the leaders of our country that they be guided by your wisdom. We pray particularly for our future leader, President Donald Trump, who has been tested and continues to be tested. We especially ask for your protection for him. Give him the strength to bear the trials before him. Give him the grace to persevere, to rise above the obstacles put in his path. Give him the wisdom to see the path forward for our nation and for the world. We are about to embark on a great crusade to rouse ourselves and our fellow citizens to raise the banner heralding our faiths, our values, and our freedoms. Be with us and guide us on the path of righteousness. For if we are worthy in your eyes, surely we shall see victory in the days ahead. With grateful hearts, we thank you for the food we are about to eat and the friendships that we will share. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please stand and welcome former Hennepin County Sheriff and this year's Republican Party of Minnesota Convention Chair, Rich Stanek, to the stage for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, folks. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag over here, flag over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome Minnesota's own pianist Lori Line in singing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner.
got this great emergency medical kit. Now, here's the deal. We don't have health care in this country. We have sick care. Big Pharma wants to keep you sick and profit off your sickness, and big government wants to keep you scared and maintain control of your fear. But instead, you become self-sufficient and have what you need, and so you're never caught off guard again. Be prepared for anything with the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit. Now, you won't find anything like it in the store, and you won't find a doctor that's going to prescribe this to you as well. Save money and time and stress. Every American household should have at least one of these medical emergency kit. You've got to be prepared for the unexpected. Right now, the information is on your screen. Take advantage of the free shipping deal at checkout. Like I said, you got to be prepared for the unexpected. We all went through this in 2020. Think about things like ivermectin and other very crucial medications are all in this emergency medical kit. Be prepared to take care of your family. I like to say keep one at home, keep one in the office, keep one in your car, because you never know when it might hit you. Avoid the lines, avoid the doctor offices appointments that you can't get. Get this Wellness Emergency Kit by Dr. Peter McAuliffe and his amazing doctors. Information is on your screen. Protect yourself and your family with the Wellness Emergency Medical Kit. compliance. Now, importantly, they are low returns. The IRS is. Are you struggling with back taxes and unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections, adding 20,000 new agents and sending over 5 million collection letters just to kick off this past year. Now, these are challenging times. Your best defense is Tax Network USA, so don't let the IRS take advantage of you. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA have saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. So no matter the size of your tax issue, their expertise is your advantage. They'll specialize in negotiating with the IRS, aiming to reduce your tax debt. Tax Network USA doesn't just negotiate. They also protect your assets from IRS seizures and manage your yearly returns for ongoing compliance. Now, importantly, they are licensed to help you in all state tax issues, regardless of where you live in the U.S. So the clock is ticking. Do not wait. The IRS will step up its efforts, no doubt. Seize control of your financial future right now and contact Tax Network USA for immediate tax relief and expert guidance. Now, you can call 800-357-1415. The information is on your screen. You can also go to tnusa.com/RSBN. Do not let these tax issues overpower you. Turn to our friends at Tax Network USA.
to the
Thank you. What a night. Don't let anybody tell you being the chairman of the Minnesota Republican Party isn't the greatest job in politics in Minnesota. It is. Welcome to the 2024 Minnesota Republican Party Lincoln-Reagan dinner. Thank you for joining us this evening to celebrate the official kickoff of the 24 election campaign. When I was elected chairman in 2021, I set a goal for our party. We would be the governing majority party in Minnesota by 2026. We've worked the last 2.5 years to build our party infrastructure, stabilize our finance, and focus on all our energies to accomplish our goals. And I'm happy to report we've come a long way. And this November, we're going to take the next step by recapturing the majority in the Minnesota House, returning our 4 elected members to Congress in the U.S. House, and winning at least one additional seat in Congress, winning the U.S. Senate race, and carrying Minnesota for our Republican Party candidate for President, Donald Trump. But we have a lot of work ahead of us. Politics is the ultimate team sport. There are many people to thank for making an event like this possible. First and foremost, thank you, President Trump, for believing that Minnesota will be a battleground state and coming to Minnesota to make that point clear. Second, tonight could not have happened without the critical assistance of Representative Emmer and his team. Thank you. And I also want to recognize the many volunteers and our overworked staff for putting in countless hours working on this event, but also on our state convention as well. Thank you. Our party has a great history. We were founded in the years just prior to the Civil War as a party opposed to the expansion of slavery. We embraced the principles of the Declaration of Independence and believed our Constitution is the best practical expression of those principles. And the Republican Party has never abandoned our commitment to those principles, and we never will. The Democrats long ago gave up on those Declaration principles. They do not believe our rights are inherent in our nature, not given to us by legislatures, courts, or kings. Now, a few months ago, we started a podcast, and we call it Wide Awake Minnesota. And that name recalls the first successful Republican presidential election, the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. In that campaign, almost every county in the northern states formed organizations to support Lincoln. They called themselves Wide Awake Clubs, and they attended rallies, they marched in parades, became in effect local Republican Party units, and they were instrumental to Lincoln's election. Now is the time for us to be wide awake. We are daily reminded of the disasters the Biden administration has brought to the American people: inflation, open borders, energy insecurity, and a world more dangerous due to a foreign policy that encourages our enemies and creates concern among our allies. And here in Minnesota, the DFL majorities in the legislature and the DFL governor have worked together to raise taxes, increase government spending far beyond any level of sustainability, and they have ignored the concerns of law-abiding citizens who want safe communities to live and work in, and schools that actually educate their children. In short, the DFL has dedicated itself to being woke and telling the rest of us, take a nap. But our party is wide awake. We are focused on making sure Republicans get out to vote. We are focused on helping our candidates in their campaigns and raising the funds to make that possible. We are going to be the governing party in Minnesota. So thank you. Thank you for the support of our party and our cause. And thank you, President Trump, for your work on behalf of the people of this country and for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage tonight's host, Minnesota Trump Campaign Chair and U.S. House Majority Whip, Tom Emmer.
You ready? You ready, Minnesota? Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be out of the swamp for a bit and back in the great state of Minnesota with my best friend and my better half, Jackie Emmer. Thank you, Jackie. And, of course, all of you. Thank you to Chairman Han for co-hosting with us and to all of you for being here tonight. Tonight is an exciting night. Not only do we get to come together and reflect on the conservative values that have made our country great, but we get to hear from the 45th President of the United States and soon to be the 47th, Donald J. Trump. It's an incredible honor to have President Trump with us tonight. And it's an incredible honor to share with you that because of his partnership with us, our state party is out of debt for the first time in over a decade. Jackie always tells me to stop, take a breath, and smile. Otherwise, everybody thinks I'm angry. So there's your smile, Jack. President Trump's visit to our great state is a true testament to his grit, determination, and fighting spirit. No sham trial is going to keep President Trump off the campaign trail. And it's definitely not going to stop us from turning Minnesota red in November. If the current state of our country has proven anything, it's that Americans cannot afford 4 more years of Joe Biden in the White House. Look right here in our own backyards. Hard-working Minnesotans are being forced to grapple with lingering inflation thanks to the Biden administration's reckless economic agenda. Every community has become a border community under Joe Biden's border crisis. A known terrorist was recently arrested in Minneapolis after being caught at the southern border a year earlier and then released back into our country. Fentanyl is flowing onto our streets and killing our kids. Brave law enforcement officers are being wrongfully prosecuted to fulfill radical Democrats' woke anti-policy agenda. It's got to stop. Students are writing "Death to America" on the outside of our universities, and squad member Ilhan Omar is cheering them on. By the way, Ilhan, if you're listening, you should support the country that has been so good to you. As my friend Kendall Qualls says, hey girl, how about a little gratitude with that attitude? And by the way, if you're that unhappy, Ilhan, with our constitutional republic and the freedom it provides, why don't you move to a country you do support? And by the way, don't let the door hit you on the way out. The Democrats' far-left failed agenda has produced nothing but chaos and catastrophe at every turn. But our Republican Party remains stronger than ever, and we're not going to stop working to get this country back on track. I've had the privilege of representing Minnesota's 6th District for several years, and more recently, I was elected by my Republican colleagues to the number 3 position in the House. I can tell you that our small but mighty majority is working around the clock to counteract Joe Biden's devastating agenda and govern where the Democrats have failed. But controlling one half of 1/3 of the government can only get us so far. We have to expand our majority in the House. We have to flip the Senate, and we have to take back the White House in November to put our country back on a better path for years to come. And this is where I was headed, and I have no doubt that with President Trump at the top of the ticket, we will get it done this year. It's clear that the momentum around our conservative movement has put Democrats on notice, and they're doing everything they can do to try and stop it. From locking President Trump down in court, to kicking him off the ballot, to shielding Joe Biden from being exposed as the elderly, incognizant man that he is. But the contrast between these two candidates could not be more clear. While President Trump touts his record of historic success, Joe Biden has to defend his record of historic failure. And I, for one, cannot wait to watch President Trump make that contrast crystal clear when he wipes Joe Biden off the debate stage next month. From the economy to border security to American leadership around the globe, there's no denying our country was much better off when President Trump was in the White House. And now we here in Minnesota get to play a critical part in making sure he gets back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I don't know if you have seen the polling lately, but the word on the street is President Trump and Joe Biden are essentially tied in Minnesota right now, and we're just beginning today. Sadly, our state has not gone red for a presidential candidate since 1972. That is all about to change in the next 6 months. President Trump has an opportunity to make history here, and we're going to help him do it. To support our efforts, I'm proud to announce tonight that our campaign will be making a $100,000 donation to the Minnesota State Party to help. With 171 days until Election Day, now is not the time to let up. Now is not the time to get complacent. We have to out-fundraise, out-door knock, out-message, and outwork the Democrats so that we can put Donald Trump back in the White House and make America great again. Look, it's going to be a tough fight. And the Democrats have proven that they'll go to great lengths to try and keep us down. But I have no doubt if we stay united and we keep our feet on the gas, we will win in November. And our country and our state will be better off for it. Thank you all for your partnership and leadership in this fight. Now let's go get it done. Thank you and God bless. Thank you, guys.
I often say our kids will never know the true accomplishments that President Trump did during his 4 years in office, God willing, another 4 years, by watching the media or getting on the University of TikTok or anywhere on social media. Well, thank goodness we have the TrumpBook.com. The website is as simple as it gets. FreeTrumpBook.com. Now, it's developed to be easy to read, the great illustrations that tells the truth about President Trump and his 4 years in office and the accomplishments he did for America and the American people. So what a great gift it makes. Give it your local library, your school, your church, your community center, or perhaps give it as a gift as we transition into the summer months. A lot of kids graduating from elementary school, middle school, even high school, and makes a great gift. So FreeTrumpBook.com, the information for that is on your screen. Go check it out. Now, there is a small shipping and handling fee that you got to process. That's fine. But the book is absolutely free and is filled with truth and knowledge of President Trump and his 4 years in office. FreeTrumpBook.com. That's FreeTrumpBook.com.
Exciting night of my life. And what happened in Minnesota that night was magical. We need to get back to that soon as we can. This November, we're going to see that. The Minnesota Senate is working hard. We've had a tough 2 years in the minority, but we're going to take that back. This year, we have the opportunity to take back 2 special elections in Minnesota and take back the majority in the Minnesota Senate. Woo! We have great opportunities. Every House member is up this year, and with the craziness that's happening at the Capitol right now, we have a great chance to turn both the Minnesota Senate and the Minnesota House back to Republican control and show Governor Walz that we can make this state better. The last year, Minnesota Democrats spent a $19 billion surplus. They raised taxes by $9 billion. That is not sustainable. We need to take that back. Governor Walz promised rebate checks of up to $2,500, and you were lucky if you got a $250 check, and then they taxed that on top of it. How bad is that? We need to take it back. We are going to do that. The Minnesota Senate is working hard. We're working tonight and stop the craziness. So we look forward to your support. Thank you so much for your support. Work with your local candidates. We need to take this back in November. Get Minnesota back in the majority. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Fishbach.
Good evening. What an exciting night. I am so excited to be here with all of you and with President Trump. You know, I think Tom mentioned we just got back from Washington, where House Republicans passed some great bills this week to support our law enforcement officers. One, to condemn Biden for the burden his border crisis has placed on our law enforcement at both the southern and the northern border. Another, to detain and deport illegal aliens who assault our police officers. And one, to get our ally Israel the help they need now. But you know what's frustrating? Is we send those over to the U.S. Senate, where Chuck Schumer and the Democrats will do nothing. They'll do nothing to help the American people. Just like they did nothing with H.R. 1 and U.S. energy independence, just like they did nothing with H.R. 5 and protecting parental rights in schools, in athletics, and in health care. And they did nothing with H.R. 2 that would have reformed our immigration system, secured our borders, and finished the wall. And what that means is we need to fire Chuck Schumer and get back the Senate. And here in Minnesota, we know what happens when Democrats control everything. And we can't let that happen in Washington, D.C. President Trump knows that Minnesota is in play this year. Even with all the sham prosecutions and all of the garbage they are throwing at that guy, he is still in a dead heat with Biden in Minnesota. But you know what? He needs our help to win. The good people of Minnesota are ready, and we are ready to help retire Joe Biden. We all want to make America great again. And I think that we share this opinion, but I want President Trump back in the White House now. I want him back there growing our economy, securing our borders, and actually working for the American people and not pandering to the far left wing and the squad. And we need to help him do it. We need to turn out every Republican vote and make sure that Minnesota shows up red on election night. We need to do our part to help President Trump because he will make America great again. He fought for us before, and he will do it again. And I look forward to working with every single one of you as we make history and turn Minnesota red this November. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Minnesota Congressman Pete Stauber.
Happy birthday, Chuck. Thank you all very much. It's great to be here. And I'm extremely excited to be with you all tonight. And it's the wrong font. Johnny, it's the wrong font. I'm putting it away. Listen, I am so excited to be here. Listen, just a few years ago under President Trump, look what we had. Interest rates low. We had energy independence. We had a secure border. We had a foreign policy that protected America and our allies. We had energy independence, critical mineral dominance. And then who comes along? Takes it all away. Let me tell you something. We have the opportunity of a lifetime. Joe Biden has been a disaster in every facet. He's destroyed our energy independence. He's destroyed our mining. He's destroyed our forestry. He's destroyed our farming. He's destroyed our southern border. Last week, 500 Chinese nationals came across our southern border. 500. 10 million plus since he's been around. Wide open border. And we wonder about the fentanyl problem. Our law enforcement, the men and women, deserve our respect and credit. We just came back from Law Enforcement Week in our nation's capital, celebrating the great men and women who serve with dignity and honor and professionalism. We celebrate the men and women that have given the ultimate sacrifice. They see the fentanyls, they see the drugs, they see the crimes happening. We can do better than that. Just look where we were 4 years ago under President Trump. President Trump, he fought for our way of life. He brought America and the United States to a level where we were respected across the world, across the global stage, where our allies knew where they stood with us. And the adversaries knew they feared us under our 45th president. I have to say something. Minnesota is a red state, make no doubt about it. And here is how we're going to confirm it. Listen, just in the 8th Congressional District alone in 2022, we left 80,000 voters. We kept them from the polls. They didn't show up. They didn't want it enough. And those 80,000 voters in just Minnesota's 8th Congressional District are Republican voters. So I'm asking you, we need to support early voting, absentee voting, the same-day voting. We have to get those low-propensity voters out. You know why? They vote Republican. The Democrats are at their ceiling. All we can do now is go up. It takes each and every one of us to get those low-propensity voters registered to vote, voting absentee early or day of. We are a red state. Look at just Minneapolis and St. Paul, the blue. Everything is red around us. So with your help, With your help, we're going to take back Minnesota. We're going to take back the House in Minnesota in November to stop Walz his last 2 years. We have to stop him. And then with your help, we will give our 10 electoral votes to Donald J. Trump, our 47th President of the United States. Listen, if we focus and look at what the Democrats have done, the devastation they put forward, we know we can do better. Together, we are growing the Republican tent. Together, we're going to make America great again, and we're going to turn Minnesota red once and for all. God bless you all, and take care of your families.
grandparents, the 2024 Kids Guide to President Trump is here, and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets a free issue of Everbright Kids Magazine and Activity Book, and a free video lesson. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I'm the host of the Let It Be Heard show here on RSBN channel. I would love for you guys to check me out. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube. We release episodes every single week regarding culture, Bible, social issues, politics, current events, anything. So if you're into any of that stuff, I highly recommend you check me out. God bless you guys, and stay safe out there.
I'm excited to announce we're having a huge MyPillow spring sale, and here's a few examples. Buy one of our MyPillow 2.0s, you get another MyPillow 2.0 absolutely free. Made with cooling technology, the best pillow ever just got even better. And this just in, 9 brand new colors and styles of our Percale bed sheets. They're made with the finest long staple cotton, and now you can save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. And for the first time this year, I'm bringing you our My Slippers and Sandals for as low as $25 a pair. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your MyPillow 2.0s. Buy one, get one free. Percale sheets as low as $24.98. My Slippers and Sandals as low as $25 a pair. And for a limited time, when you order $75 or more, your entire order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.
Yeah.
Talk about our friends over at the Birch Gold Group. Tonight, President Trump will address the economy and talk about inflation and how it's hit every American and the savings that we have lost just staying up to this inflation by Bidenomics. Now, if you've got some investments that you'd like to protect, why not transfer it into gold, silver, and precious metals? And that's where the Birch Gold Group comes in. They made it really simple to take that first step. All you have to do is text the words Trump to 989898 and get that free information kit to invest in gold, silver, and precious metals. Now, we've had thousands of viewers reach out and really say, look, help me get through some of these tough times and let me sleep a little bit better at night knowing that my investments won't go away like that. The Birch Gold Group, text the words Trump to 989898 for that free information kit. A+ Better Business Bureau. So they've got a good track record. And of course, they'll tell you how to transition a traditional IRA into a gold-backed IRA. It's as simple as that. The information for that is on your screen. The Birch Gold Group, a proud sponsor for tonight's program.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media. Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.
guest and Governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum.
Sam put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and an eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Oh, brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Good evening, Minnesota. Are you ready? President Trump is in the house. I just had a chance to welcome him to Minnesota, and I'm going to tell you that he is so excited to be here with all of you and so grateful that all of you are here. He can't wait to get out here. But while he's saying hi to a few more Minnesotans backstage, taking a few pictures, they asked me to come out and say hi, and I'm always happy to come and talk to our neighbor in Minnesota because this is such a great state. You guys send all your students over to our universities. Some of them great athletes, and then we get to use them to beat you in sports. So I came here to thank you for that. And, of course, I'm here for another reason, because I believe, like Minnesota GOP, you had some great speakers out here earlier tonight. And I'm going to tell you the one reason I'm here tonight is because I believe in this state as a neighbor. I believe it can do better, and I believe that this state can help elect President Trump in November. I'm going to tell you why that's so important, because as a governor, I've had a front row seat. I had a chance to serve under President Trump my first 4 years in office. Like many of you, I was in business my whole life until I got elected the same night that President Trump did for the very first time. And it was like having a beautiful breeze at our back. Taxes were going down, regulations were being cut, states were being respected because President Trump understands that we're a constitutional republic and that the federal government has limited powers, and he was returning power to the states. And when he did that, it was an era we had innovation was the word, not regulation. And our country was thriving. Our border was secure. Inflation was low. The economy was strong. And there was peace abroad. And then Joe Biden took office. And I'll tell you what happened then. You've all been living through it. Inflation has come like a thief in the night. There's over 60% of the Americans that have no savings. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're having to pay more for gas and for food and for rent and now for electricity, 30% more for electricity. They're having to do all that. And then those hardworking Americans that have worked their whole lives have had savings. Inflation's come like a thief in the night and stolen 20 to 30% of the value of their savings, and they're going to have to work longer because of that. And they're frustrated. I was with President Trump last week at Wildwood with 107,000 people came out to cheer him on. And somebody on one of those liberal news networks asked me, well, who was there? You know, what demographic? And I said, who was there? I said, it was working families. That's who was there. As we drove up in the motorcade coming into that venue, some of them said, oh, I don't think there was 100,000 people there. I said, no, there wasn't, because we saw about 20,000 before we got to the venue. 3 miles out, they were lining the streets. People parked their cars in the ditches, waving American flags. We went by a fire station. Went by a fire station in a little community. They had all the trucks out, and all the firemen were standing on top of the trucks, waving the flags, people honking their horns. And there were so many people, the New Jersey, in blue New Jersey, the New Jersey Highway Patrol had to be out to help do traffic control. And we went by one intersection. I looked over, and there was a New Jersey Highway Patrolman saluting the president's motorcade as it went by. And those people were all there just like you're here tonight, this amazing turnout tonight to support our president, because you know what they know, that you were all better off under President Trump than you are under Joe Biden. And as a governor, I can tell you, and I know your own legislature doubles down here with, billions of dollars and more taxes and more regulation. That's a bad thing. But all your businesses are moving to North Dakota. That's okay. They're coming over in droves, because we're lowering taxes and we're lowering regulation, and that's exactly what President Trump's going to do for this country. But what we have now and what I've seen under Joe Biden, I'm still a governor. I have the same job description. My job has changed. Instead of focusing on driving our state and the country forward, all we do now is fight back and sue the federal government. We're fighting over 30 different rulemaking efforts. None of them have ever passed the desk of your great congressmen like Michelle Fishbach or Tom Emmer, because they're not coming from Congress. This is the Biden bureaucratic regime. The real dictatorship, which we're over 1,200 days into, is Joe Biden with a single ideology, shoving rules and rules down on states like North Dakota that are choking our families, choking our industries, and killing our energy production, which is then driving it overseas to Russia, Iran, Venezuela. And Iran and Russia are paying for the wars. We're in 2 proxy wars right now, one with Iran and one with Russia. They are paying for their side of the war with oil money because Joe Biden has lifted the sanctions on them and shut down U.S. energy. And then we debate in Congress how much money we should send to our allies. Turns out we're funding both sides of those wars. President Trump won't let that happen for a day. So as we get ready to kick off this evening tonight, and you're going to listen to an amazing leader come out here and speak for over an hour from his heart to all of you, I want you to think about one thing, because I was with him on Tuesday, sitting in that cold, dank, dark, horribly maintained New York courtroom. And I knew going in there, I wanted to see with my own eyes. I'm someone who likes to get ground truth. But I could see with my own eyes, before I went in, I knew the thing was a sham trial, because if you've got a judge that donated to President Biden's campaign in 2020, if you got prosecutors that ran for election in Manhattan, a county that's 92% Democrat, saying that they're going to put President Trump away, they're running on that. And then you've got your star witness is a world-class serial perjurer. You might say, why would we bring that case? Well, the DOJ passed on it. The Federal Election Commission passed on it. Alvin Bragg's predecessor passed on it. They all passed on it. They called it the zombie case. They had to bring it back from the dead. And then there we are. There's nothing there, but they've got him tied up there for 5 weeks when he should be out doing what he's doing tonight, talking to you about the real issues facing the American people. And I left there and I came back, was flying back to North Dakota. And to get to North Dakota, it turns out you have to go through Minnesota to get there. You can't get on them. There's no direct flights from anywhere except Minneapolis on Delta. And so they got the new thing on the back of the seat back. We can watch live TV. So I'm watching CNN the next morning, and they're talking about the trial. And I thought they must have been in a different courtroom than I was, because that's not what I was watching. And what I saw with our president and what you will see tonight is someone who had time earlier today to go to his son's graduation, because he's a dad and he's a father. And supported by the most beautiful and wonderful First Lady this country's ever had, Melania. And he's doing that, and then this week he's in the courtroom, and then in the evening, world leaders want to come and see him that aren't going to the White House. They're coming to see him at Trump Tower. So he sits in the courtroom all day. He works all night. No one works more tirelessly than him. And I'll tell you, having a chance to be with him on Trump Force One, I can tell you one thing. Everybody on that plane, doesn't matter. You leave Iowa at midnight and you're flying back to the East Coast, 2.5-hour flight. Nobody shuts their eyes. Nobody has even a single beer. Everybody's working. They got their nose down. This is the hardest work. If he was just still a CEO, he'd be the hardest working CEO in America. But he's been the hardest working president we've ever had and will have again. And he's working for all of you and for all of us. So I just got a couple of questions for you before Tom comes back out here. But one question is, who are we sending back to the White House in November? Okay, one more time. Who are we sending back to the White House in November? Okay, and the last time, this is a special one. You got to say this loud enough that they can hear it in Biden's basement back in Delaware. Who are we sending back to the White House in November? And are we going to win Minnesota? Let's go, Minnesota GOP. Thank you very much.
I didn't start it. God, I wish.
Talk about our friends over at the Wellness Company. They've got this great emergency medical kit. Now, here's the deal. We don't have health care in this country. We have sick care. Big Pharma wants to keep...
I'm going to introduce the man of the hour, the guy that we're going to elect in November. But I do want to recognize U.S. Senator Rudy Boschwitz and Ellen are somewhere here in the house. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to say hello again. It's an honor to be able to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from deep Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. How about that? Before I got up, the teleprompter fell down. That's great. Great going, fellas, back there. Then they want to know why I didn't pay the bill. You know, I get a lot of heat. I got a teleprompter that's gone. This one's almost gone, but we've been there before. Supposing that happened to Biden, you know what happens? He'd go like this. Bye. He'd leave. I'll stay here with you for an hour. We'll have some fun. But I want to thank Tom, and he's been an amazing guy, actually. We've gotten to know each other mostly over the last year, and his wife is even more amazing. She's so great. She's been with me, and she convinced him to be with me, and now he's more with me than her, and it's a very complex relationship. And no, they're two great people, and thank you very much. Thank you, Tom, for a great job. Very respected in Washington. But I want to just start off by saying hello, Minnesota. This is a great state. We're going to win this state. 1952. Can you imagine? I thought we won it in 2016. I thought we won it in... I know we won it in 2020. We got to be careful. We got to watch those votes. You know, we don't need the votes. We got to watch the votes. That's the big danger. Stop the steal. You know, there's a lot of different names we have for it, but all of them are pretty accurate. I'm thrilled to be back in the Twin Cities with the hardworking patriots from the heartland of America. This is really the heartland. And I'm here tonight to declare that we're officially expanding this is an official expansion, Tom, of the electoral map. We're going to put this because this is so in place. Did you see? 2 polls came out. One had me 1 point behind. One had me 2 points up. And another one's coming out tomorrow. And the word is that I'm 2 points up. I don't know if that's good or bad. How are you 2 points up to Biden? He can't talk. He can't walk. Can't find his way off a stage. Can't put 2 sentences together. Although he has agreed to debate. So I don't know. Maybe they know something. He's going to be so jacked up for those debates. You watch. I want to thank Minnesota GOP Chair David Hand for the incredible job that you do. David, thank you. A really good man. David, are we going to win? What do you think? You're an important guy. He may be the most important guy in the room, Tom. I'm sorry. You know, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. But thank you. And thank you to you, your beautiful wife. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we're really counting on you to do the job. As we'll give you the ammunition. And I think you will do it based on everything we're seeing. A very good friend of mine, one of the great governors of the country, Doug Burgum, as you know, from North Dakota. Thank you, Doug. The best hockey player in the history of Congress, there's no question about it, Pete Stauber, and my friend. a congresswoman who's a patriot and a real fighter, and she's always been with me right from the beginning, Michelle Fishbach. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. And the greatest purchaser of advertising in the history of the country. There's never been, I don't know, his pillows are excellent, but I'm more impressed with the purchasing. If he could buy my ads, you'd never, for what I spend, you would never have any empty spot without a Trump ad. This guy's the greatest buyer of ads in history, Mike Lindell. And his beautiful, just married, beautiful new wife. Thank you very much for being with us. That's great. It's a beautiful couple. I've said that a lot before, but this time I know it's perfect. I've said so many times, what a beautiful couple. 2 weeks later, how you doing? Well, we broke up. That one's never breaking up. But, Mike, it is true, though. He had a commercial. You know, you call up, like, the networks. You call up Fox. They do a 30-second commercial. A minute is very hard to buy. This guy has commercials that last 10 minutes. They never stop. And now he sells pillows and he sells sneakers. He sells anything. And we love him. He's a special guy. He's gone to... How many rallies have you come to? This over 100, yeah. No, it's amazing. He's our friend. And he does it out of love, and we love him. With the help of everyone here tonight, we're going to take back the White House, and we are going to make America great again. We're going to do it. Two days ago, it was announced that inflation in April continued to rage at a brutal 3.4 annual rate. Nobody can believe it because they're just not stopping it. That's above the probably 30 points that you've picked up over the last couple of years. This is a level that people have not seen before. Consumer prices just hit an all-time high. And since crooked Joe Biden, and he is crooked, he's the worst president in the history of the country. How we can be 1 point down or 2 points up in Minnesota to this guy, I don't know. There's only one way it can happen. They cheat. That's the only way. That's the only way. Some people like it, some people don't, but that's the way it is. Sorry to tell you. And I never use the word folks. You know why? That's all he uses. Do you ever watch? Folks, folks, folks. It's a nervous habit. I did a play-by-play of his State of the Union address. Man, was he jacked. But he used the word folks like 40 times, folks. So I never used it. I used to use it. I used to, nice, 1 or 2 times in a speech. But groceries are up 22%, eggs are up 50%, electricity is up 40, 50, 60%, gasoline is up 56%. Car insurance, you can't even get it. I mean, it's up 52% if it's available. And then if you need it, they don't give it to you. They fight you like hell. And meanwhile, real wages are down by almost 5%. This is what we have. This is Bidenomics. You know, he thought it was such a good term. They had to explain, no, it's a disaster. No, inflation has eaten, it's a country buster. And we have inflation like we haven't seen in, I guess, 78 years, but I think it's probably longer than that. That's why this November, the people of Minnesota are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, right, the apprentice, you're fired. Get out of here. Get out. You did a lousy job. Worst president in history. You did a terrible job, crooked Joe. His inflation catastrophe is, in effect, a colossal tax on American families. We will call it the Biden inflation tax. This is a tax that you don't know about, Tom. I just came up with it. Like, it's the biggest tax in history. It's called an inflation tax. It's about 50%. This is like going to Congress and raising your hand for a 50% tax. That's what it is. When I left office, and we had virtually no inflation. We had nothing. We had only success. Yet in the past 3 years, it's an amazing thing. Yet in the past 3 years, the tax has cost us an average, if you think the average Minnesota family is a staggering $28,000. Think of that. Who could think of that? $28,000 in tax. And the Biden price hikes are continuing to drain $1,165 from the typical Minnesota family budget every single month. I mean, think of these numbers. These numbers are staggering. And, if somebody got a little bit of a wage increase, it doesn't matter because the prices have gone up so much. It's a sad thing Now they want to go to an EV. Everybody has to have an electric car. Isn't that wonderful? They don't go far. By the way, that ends on the first day. First day. And if you want to buy it, you can buy one. I'm not knocking it. If you want to go, 3-4 miles and then back home, plug it in, get ready for the purchase of a newspaper the next day. You want to go down and buy a newspaper like in the old days every once in a while. But no, we're going to end it right away, immediately. And I think people, if they want to buy an electric car, I think it's great. But they have to be able to buy gasoline-powered. They have to be able to buy hybrids. The hybrids are good, the hybrids are good. But the electric, they don't go far. They're very expensive, and they're all going to be made in China. And now they want to make electric trucks, and the trucks are a disaster because the battery is so big it takes up half of your payload. To go to California, you need 6 stops, and you have no chargers. Other than that, it's very good. If you go with like an 18-wheeler, you can go from New York to California without a stop. And it's something I never even heard before. So one of the truckers told me this. They're begging for help because they're going to be put out of business. They're all going to be put out of business. He said, with a big truck you buy at Gorgeous, I won't even use the names, but the names of these companies, and you have this massive tank with diesel fuel. And as it goes along, it gets better and better because you're burning fuel, and it gets lighter and lighter. With the battery, it just stays the same weight. You just got to lift that battery. But they're too big. The batteries are too big. They don't work. It's not something that's even feasible. But these people don't want to hear about it. They don't want to talk about it. In 3 minutes, a sane person, if they were in government, could be talked out of going all electric trucks because the batteries are so big and so heavy, they take up half of your payload. And in 3 minutes, but they don't want to hear about it. You say you have to stop 6 times instead of no times. They say, we don't care. I mean, who could say that? These are radical lunatics that we're dealing with. They're lunatics. And now they want to go all-electric army tanks, okay? Do you believe that? So that when we go in and blast the crap out of an enemy that we have and that we hate, and sometimes, we should be there. Many times we shouldn't be there, to be honest with you. But we blast the hell out of an enemy. We do it in an environmentally friendly way. What are we doing? And now it turns out, we make the best tanks in the world. And now it turns out that in terms of army tanks, you have to put a truck on the back of the army tank because the battery is so big. It's going to have to tow a truck. And it still doesn't go far, and it still costs twice as much, and it's not effective. But it does keep a clean environment, which is very important, because I know up in a place called Minnesota, they like clean air. And you know what? You had the cleanest air in history for 4 years using natural gas. Trump, natural gas and clean coal. Unbelievably. It's true. It's true. It's true. The whole thing. And, all this stuff has to be made in China because that's what they have. We have a thing called gasoline. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation in the world, including Russia and including Saudi Arabia. I did Anwar in Alaska, the biggest find in the world. It's probably the size of Saudi Arabia. And in his first week in office, they ended it. Ronald Reagan tried to get it. He couldn't get it. Everybody tried to get it. I got it approved. They were getting ready, and this guy ended it in the first day in office. So sad. I mean, so sad. And ultimately, that's what caused inflation. Your energy prices went up so much, and very simple. Whether you make donuts or whether you make tires or whether you make anything, you have to turn on the furnaces, and you have to get the trucks moving and all of the other things. And the energy is what caused this massive inflation that we've suffered through. And then everything caught on. I mean, you ever see bacon where it went up 4 times? 4 times over a course of 3 years. So I don't eat bacon anymore. It's too expensive. But unbelievably, Crooked Joe Biden went on television last week, and he proclaimed in an interview with Americans that he's saying that Americans can actually afford his brutal inflation tax. He said they can afford it. He declared that families, quote, have the money to spend. They have the money to spend. They don't have the money to spend. They've run out of money. I mean, they're on literally, people don't have, if they get sick, if they're away for 2 or 3 days of income, I don't know, what do they do? You're spoiled. You're a lot of rich, very rich people. You set all sorts of records tonight. Have you heard that? You set attendance record and you set a money-raising record. But can you imagine if you miss a couple of days of work, can you imagine you can't pay your bills? I mean, we have the highest percentage of that we've ever had. And Biden blamed his economic disaster on companies shrinking the size of their sticker bars, okay? Can you believe that? But, you know, it's a funny thing. I don't know if you can see it out there. Does anybody have good eyes out there? Because this is, okay, so I just got this today. Somebody handed it to me. So weird, and not as a joke. I said, anybody have any Tic Tacs? And the guy said, yeah, I have one. Look at the size of that sucker. Can you see that, Pete? This is called Biden Tic Tacs. Can you see it, Tom? This costs more money than the one that was like 10 times bigger. This is inflation. That's a perfect... The guy actually handed me... Do you have any Tic Tacs? Yeah, here, take mine, sir. I said, what the hell is that? I'm never going to lose this. This is going to be a part of our... Terrible. But Americans are not struggling. You know, this is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The frickin' place is falling down. I notice it keeps tilting further left. Like too many other things. What a crappy contractor this was. No, it's true. You know, I'm known as being a pretty tough negotiator, and sometimes I get a bad rep. A contractor does a bad job. I met a lot of great contractors there, but he does a bad job, I don't pay him. And then they say, Trump doesn't pay his... I pay my bills. I pay the bills so fast if they're good. But this happens to be, look, the teleprompter is useless. It fell down. I don't know why it fell down. It's not like... I don't mind. I've lost teleprompters to wind. There's no wind in here. So why the hell did it fall down? Did you see it? It fell down. I'm standing here listening to the great Lee Greenwood, and the teleprompter falls off the stage. Now I put my hand on this thing, and the thing tilts over. This is not... I think it was Emmer. Maybe Emmer doesn't like me. No, this sucker is really tenuous, I'm telling you. This, at some point, I won't leave, and we'll finish up, but this sucker is going to be sitting down there on the floor. I've never had this before. I've never had a podium that's falling down. I've had teleprompters. You know, I was in Ohio. In fact, our great senator from North Dakota, you were there for somebody that's going to win, I think, Bernie Moreno. And we had 45 mile-an-hour winds. We had 28,000 people. By the way, in New Jersey last weekend, we had 107,000 people. That's a poll, right? That's a poll. But we were in there to help Bernie Moreno get elected, Senate, running for the Senate. He's doing well. And we had 45 mile-an-hour winds. And we had two teleprompters that were going like this. And then one broke and fell. I was waiting for that to happen. And I'm supposed to be speaking like for an hour and a half, and I'm saying, we're all by ourselves up here. We got no teleprompter at the stage, but at least we had winds. Here we don't have anything, and it's falling apart. This is what happens in America when you don't do things right. And we don't like that, do we, huh? We don't like that. We don't like that. But Americans are not struggling to make ends meet because they're buying too many Snicker bars. We don't talk about that. They're struggling because we have the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in the history of our country without question. One of the most vicious effects of the Biden inflation tax is how Crooked Joe has made it impossible for millions of Americans, especially young Americans, to buy a home, a car, or even make their rent. You know, young Americans are getting out of high school and getting out of college, and it's a disaster for them. They've never had anything like it. They've never had anything like it. High inflation means that high prices, high interest rates, high mortgage rates, and death for the American dream. It really is. It's death. You know, we talk about death, and a lot of farmers here. We have farmers that I took great care of. We got them $28 billion from China. Can you imagine? Do you think Biden thinks about getting you money from China? He thinks about giving them money. But we have $28 billion we got you. But we also got rid of the estate tax on your farms and small businesses. Because a lot of people, you know, they love their family. They love their family, and they want to. Now, if you don't love your family, then you shouldn't leave it to them. And is there anybody in the room that doesn't love their family? Because I actually have 3 or 4 people usually when we do, they raise their hand. In which case, this tax doesn't help you much. But we gave you, we got rid of the death tax or the inheritance tax on small farms and businesses, and that's a big thing. But remember this, it's all going back. If Biden gets elected, how the hell do you elect this guy? Who would elect this guy who's destroyed our country? He's destroyed our country. You know, I have great respect for the office of the president, for the presidency, and I would never speak about him that badly. But then they did something that is unthinkable. They took a president that got 75 million votes, more votes than any president in the history of our country, sitting president. No sitting president even come close to that. And they indicted him for nothing. And you see what's happening, all falling apart. It was a nothing. And then they indicted him again. Then we had Fannie Wade, you know. I call her Fannie Wade. Took the surname of her great lawyer boyfriend. We hired him because of his expertise. He never did it before. They paid him almost $1 million. They traveled all over the world. Didn't they take 9 trips, Tom? I don't think you. When was the last time you took 9 trips? He didn't take 9 trips in his entire tenure as a politician in this state. I guarantee, and your wife wouldn't let you. She wants you to work hard. But they took 9 trips in like 8 months. In other words, they were taking trips. And then they said, oh, well, he's being paid. So think of this. So he's getting almost $1 million. And he's taking her for these lovely cruises, Norwegian cruise lines. Oh, that's beautiful. These people are just beautiful. And they're going on Norwegian, and they're going all over, different trips to Alaska, to Europe, all over the place. She wants to indict me for like mobster stuff, okay, mobster stuff, when I didn't do anything wrong. You know, today, if you say, I don't believe the election results are correct, they want to indict you because they don't like talking about it, because you're coming too close to home. But we talk about it, and we're proud to talk about it. And if you're chilled, you're going to have very dishonest elections. And the biggest risk we have here is exactly that, because we have plenty of votes here. We're going to win. But the biggest fear and the biggest, because so many people say, will it happen again? Will it? And we have great people, but these people were born to cheat. You know, they're born to cheat. They have no shame. But think of it, Fani. It's F-A-N-I, but they pronounce it Fani. How do you, if you had the name F-A-N-I, it's called Fanny, right? How do you get Fani? I think when she became the DA, she gave it a little Frenchy stuff, you know? Fani. Fani Wade. It's Fani Willis. We call her Fani Wade because the boyfriend, she's so in love with him. And here's the beauty, though. I think about her. So you guys have all seen this whole deal. So she said, no, we took trips. Yes, we took trips. And then she realized that, well, she paid for the trip because she paid him, you know, all this, almost $1 million, probably more than that. And they used that money to pay. So then she said, no, I didn't pay for, I paid cash. That's right. I paid cash. Now she's got a real problem, because now they're saying, where'd she get the cash? But they don't go after the Democrats. They only go after the Republicans. Think of it. She said she paid cash. She didn't pay cash, and she would have, but if she paid cash, she has a bigger problem, right? Now she has a real problem. Where'd she get the cash? But they leave her alone. She's now running for office, and they leave her alone. These are corrupt people. These are bad people, very bad people. We have deranged Jack Smith in New York. He's a deranged individual, Washington, and he has destroyed a lot of lives over the years, and always seems to get overturned because he goes too far. He's a deranged individual, and now you find out that in Florida, he tampered with the evidence. You saw that, right? He tampered with the evidence. He got his hand caught in the cookie jar. You know the expression? But this is what we have. And they're using, they've weaponized Biden. They've weaponized, they call it lawfare. And I call it warfare, because we have to fight these people strong. If you're a congressman, a great one, like Michelle or Pete, and you get a subpoena one day, you're out of business. You're out. You might as well just a subpoena. Pete gets a subpoena. He doesn't want to hear about it. Michelle gets a subpoena. That's what they do. They've used this as a weapon. This is cheating on election, no different than they did 4 years ago. This is cheating on elections. Today I saw in Washington, D.C., there's a lockbox looks nice, except there's a problem. The door is open on the bottom, the big door. It's totally open. They're taking pictures of it. This is a whole big scam. They have lock boxes all over the place. It's a whole big scam, hundreds of millions of dollars going in. And that's what we have to be careful of, because we have all the votes we need. We have all the, you don't have that problem in North Dakota like we have. But I tell you what, we have all the votes we need. And I'm counting on the chairman and Tom and everybody to make sure that just give us an honest count. We're going to turn the state for the first time since 1952. But it's true. I never talk this way because, you know, I used to treat Biden with a little respect. Not a lot, but a little. More than he deserves. And you know, I talk about he didn't do a good job. Now I say he's the worst president. He's incompetent. He's not a smart person. He has no idea. He can't find the stairs to a stage. See all the stairs we have? We've got more stairs here. They're all over the place. How the hell do you not find them? You can walk in any direction, and yet he... You ever watch him? He goes like this. And then and so far he's doing good because there's a stair over there, but then he walks into a wall and stuff. Thank God for the Secret Service. They usually run off, take him. This is what we're running against. How the hell do they get 50% of the vote? They start off with a big advantage. Remember that. They start off with a big advantage. They start off with, you know, certain votes that they get almost automatically. But we're going to be getting a lot of those votes this time. I think we're actually going to be getting a lot of those union votes that they typically get. I think we're going to get a lot of the union votes. United Auto Workers, they're fed up with United Auto Workers in terms of their leadership, but I think we're getting that. I think we're getting a lot of Teamsters voting for us. We're doing polls. We're like at 82%. And tough to get the top guys, but I think we're going to get some top guys very soon. So I think we're really eating into them. African Americans, Hispanic Americans, we're getting numbers like nobody's ever seen before. So we have to put it away. We have to be careful. Guard the vote. I call it guard the vote, Mr. Chairman. We have to guard the vote. And we have to make sure that vote is counted and they don't add ballots and all of the other things that they do. They'll do anything. They have no shame. On day one, we will throw out Bidenomics and we will reinstate Maganomics. We're going to have Maganomics. We're going to make it the most successful. We will be again the most successful country in the world. We'll stop the Biden stupid spending spree. We'll end his inflation death spiral. This is a death spiral. We'll terminate his green new scam. You know what the green new scam is, right? And we're going to drill, baby, drill like we've never drilled before. And we're going to bring down energy prices. And you have very high energy prices here. And you know what I did for you up north, nobody's ever done what I did for you. And they ended it immediately, right? Didn't they end it immediately? It's like they came in and they just ended it for no reason. They don't even know why they ended it. It was perfect what we did. And I got so many thanks. I remember when I did it, I was here, and miners and people were coming up to me, and they had tears in their eyes. Thank you, sir, for giving us our livelihood back. And then they ended it, like in the first couple of days of the administration, along with many other things, like the Keystone Pipeline and lots of other things that should have never been ended. But just as I did before, I will rescue Minnesota and I'm going to rescue Minnesota from all of the ravages you think, and we're going to rescue the Iron Range again. We're going to rescue the Iron Range. Before I took office, the Obama-Biden administration had wiped out the Iron Range. Every job, it was gone. 7 plants were idled and 2,000 workers were laid off immediately, and then it got worse and worse. But and I came up here and I met some people, and they just told me, it took me about I figure a minute and a half to figure it out. And I opened it up like nobody's ever opened it up, and it was doing great. And then these people came in, they closed it. I don't know, they closed it. Nobody knows why. They said the environment. It's not the environment. But after I imposed powerful tariffs on foreign steel, the Iron Range came roaring back to life. I put big tariffs because China was dumping massive amounts of steel in our country and killing all of our steel companies. The people that like me the most, actually, are the steel guys. They like me. They say, thank you. You saved our businesses. But now they're sort of siphoning it off, and it's not a pretty picture. I tell you, these people, what they're doing to this country, between the border, where millions of people are coming in, I mean, think of it. Millions and millions of people are coming into our country from mental institutions and from jails, prisons. They're coming in, they're pouring in. We have terrorists coming in. We're going to do a massive deportation, but we have no choice. It's not like we have a choice. And we start with the criminals. Hundreds of thousands of criminals are coming into our country, hundreds of thousands. Iron ore shipments out of the port of Duluth soared by nearly 50% under the Trump administration. I rescinded the federal withdrawal in Superior, Superior National Forest. Did anybody ever hear of Superior National Forest? Good. Well, I opened it up. What's wrong with that? They close it. They say, we don't want it. I don't know these people. I think they just want to make your lives miserable and destroy our country. It's so crazy. I mean, seriously, why would they want an open border? Why do they want high interest rates? Why do they want to quadruple your taxes, which is what is going to happen? All those things we talked about, it's going to happen. Why do they want to have men playing in women's sports? They want men. You got to look at the weightlifting records. A record that stood for 18 years. 18 years it stood. It was solid. They just couldn't break it. Those beautiful, powerful, extremely strong women. There weren't too many men could lift but these are men, but extremely strong women. And they were looking, and they put a quarter of an ounce, think of that, a quarter of an ounce there, a quarter of an ounce there on the barbell. And they get up and they lift that sucker. They're going to do it. Mom's in the first row, right where you are. Beautiful woman. And she's so proud of her daughter. My daughter's going to lift that. Mom, I'm ready. I've been working 10 years for this. I'm ready. Olympic tryouts, right? Then she gets it up. Mom, I don't know, Mom. This is a heavy sucker. Oh, Mom, I can't do it. Boom. Can't do it. Couldn't do it. Just that little extra they couldn't do. This guy who transitioned, he transitioned. Thank you very much. He comes in. Have you lifted before? No, not much. He goes, how much is it? 218? Oh, I should be able to do that. He walks up to the Bible. They put 30 more pounds on. Well, what did he break it by? Like hundreds of pounds, Tom. And then you allow this to happen in Congress? The worst. This is swimming. How about the swimming? Right? How about the swimming records? These are records that women won't be breaking maybe in about 400 years if everything goes well. But with the kind of idiots we have running this country, not a lot of people will be left because the power of weaponry today is very scary. We could very well end up in the next 5 months in a World War III because we have incompetent people. He's an incompetent person. Joe Biden is incompetent. And let me just tell you, I would have never said, and that's a strong statement to say the president is, he's grossly incompetent. Everything he's done. Look at Afghanistan, the way they left. I was leaving Afghanistan. We're going to leave with dignity and strength and our equipment, and we're going to stay in Burgum. And we were taking the soldiers out last, right? Last. You don't take them out first. We took them out first, and then they were free to have, they had a free-for-all. But we're going to keep Burgum, the big air base. You know who has Burgum right now? It's only 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. You know who has it now? China has it now. The guy is just a horrible thing. So when he did that, I said, now the gloves are off. I can say anything I want. Think of it. Alphonse Capone, the great has anyone ever heard of Al Capone? Scarface, has anyone? This was not a nice person. Even Doug would have a hard time living with him. You would say, let's get the hell out of here. This guy's dangerous. No, if he didn't like you for dinner, he would kill you. You would never be found, let's put it this way. Do you have any wetlands around or swamps? Because he liked wetlands, he just dumped them in the wetlands. But Al Capone was indicted less than me. I was indicted over a short period of time 4 times. My whole life, I never even heard of the word, and now all of a sudden I'm like a professional. And my father, who was a straight guy, he was a straight arrow, no games. He was all business. He was just a good man, but he was all business. He's looking down right now with my beautiful mother, and they're saying, my son got indicted 4 times. That's more than Alphonse Capone. What the hell's going on? That country's going haywire. No, but they've used this. They've weaponized the DOJ. And these are local prosecutors, but they've weaponized local prosecutors. They've taken people from the DOJ and they've put them into local offices. They've weaponized the whole thing. And if you're a normal but a very good politician and you get a subpoena or you get some form of a grand jury notice, you're sort of out of business. You know what you say, like hundreds have said before? I will go home now to my family. I will work on my relationship with my family. And I will fight for my name. And by the way, that's the last you've ever heard of that person. He's gone. Because they've weaponized. And that's what their form of cheating is now. And if you're a congressman or a senator or anything, at least I have a voice so I can get up and say, here's what the indictment is. And I can explain it. And a poll came out today, 88% say that these indictments are bullshit. So that's a very positive thing. And more importantly, my poll numbers are much higher than they would have been without it. You know, they've gone too far. In fact, I heard they were coming down with another one. They called in for what? Don't do it! We're going to indict this guy into the White House. Don't do it. You ever hear that? No, I don't think my poll numbers, Tom, what do you think? I don't think my poll numbers would be as high. It's not a pleasant thing. You know, I have a judge in New York who's totally conflicted. Totally conflicted. This man is the most conflicted judge that you could ever have in history. And I hate to say man's crooked, but he's so conflicted it becomes crooked. And this is what we have. This is what we have. And it's a very sad thing. But when you explain it, I have a big platform like these things and lots of them. And, you know, I can get on television whenever I want. I can explain a lot of work. But my poll numbers are much higher, I think. Wouldn't you say? They're much higher than they would have ever been, Doug. Much higher. So we get something out of it. We get something out of it, but you have to do a lot of work, and it's a very unfair situation, but they weaponize it. That's their current form of cheating. And this never happened in the United States before. This happened with this horrible president who's just he's destroying our country. He's destroying our country. He's a horrible human being, too. And then they go, you know, it's all disinformation. His biggest disinformation, he's a non-athlete, okay? I'm a very good golfer. I'm a very good golfer. I really am. Won 29 club championships. That's a lot, 29 club championships. And he can't play. And he said the other day, it's all disinformation. I'll play Trump anytime. I'll give him 3 aside. He's going to give me 3 aside. Did you ever see him swing? He's like this. The guy, I don't believe he can hit a ball 50 yards. I know sports very well, and I know golf very well, and I know good golfers. I can look at a guy take a practice swing before the round starts. I can tell you whether or not he or she can play. This guy has no, and he said, they asked him what his handicap is. I'm a 6.2. 6.2. You know, 6.2 is a very good player. He's a 6.2. Got to be that extra little .2, you know, like I've never even heard of it. I played only about 40 frickin' years. I've never heard of a 6.2. I've heard of a 6, I've heard of a 7, but I've never heard of a 6.2. But he wants to make it like accurate, you know, like in other words, like it exists. He's all about disinformation. Pilots come in, he said, I used to fly a plane. Truckers come in, I used to drive a truck. People come in from Minnesota. I used to live in Minnesota. Right? He is so full of shit, this guy. Terrible. Terrible. Thank you very much. True. So true. It's so true. Now the fake news back there, they'll say, oh, he used foul language. Every once in a while you have a good crowd. Every once in a while you have to use, you know, there's just no other word to describe it, right? Say he didn't use nice words. He didn't use nice. Doesn't work quite the same, does it, huh? But now it's sad what's happening. It's sad what's happening because it's not based on anything. And he was never a smart person. He was always, I knew Ted Kennedy very well. And for some reason, very different persuasion politically, but he lived in Palm Beach largely. They had the Kennedy compound, and I was there for a long time. And I did him a big favor one time, and he liked me. I liked him. I got along with him, but, very different in a lot of ways. But I said, who's the smartest person in the Senate? He said, the smartest person, gave me a name. I won't tell you because he's still around, and I can't stand the guy, okay? I said, who's the dumbest person in the U.S. Senate? He said, probably Joe. I said, who the hell is Joe? Joe Biden. He said he doesn't understand the basic concepts of taxation, of foreign policy. He doesn't. Anytime it gets a little bit complex, he just doesn't understand. And he's our president now. And that was when he was in prime time. He's not prime time anymore. But less than 4 years ago, we had the most secure border in U.S. history. We ended catch and release, built 571 miles of border wall, and got Mexico to send 28,000 soldiers to our border free of charge. I said to the president, we need your soldiers. Why? I said, because you've got caravans. I came up with that name. I'm good with names, I come up with a lot of good names. A lot of them I can't use again because they were against my Republican opponent, and now I get along with them, But we've come up with a lot of good names. Pocahontas was a good name, I think. That actually drove her out of the presidential run, right? Pocahontas, and so many good names, but it's a caravan. It's like a caravan. I came up with that. It's thousands of people walking through Mexico. So I said to the president, you got to give us 28,000 soldiers. I want them now, and they got to stop people from pouring over our border, over the border while we're building the wall. We're building the wall. We did far more than I said we were going to do, and I had another 200 miles of wall already built, ready to be put up. Could have been done in 3 weeks. And that's when I realized they didn't want to put it up. And the reason they didn't, because they did want open borders. I couldn't even believe it. It doesn't make sense. An open border doesn't make sense. You can let people in, but you got to know something about the people. They're coming in from all over the world, not just South America. So I said to him, you got to give us 28,000 soldiers. Oh, he laughed at me. Oh, that's so funny. Why would we do that? I said, because you're letting people come through your country, and they're pouring into our country. You have to do it. And I really like him, too, AMLO. I really like him. He's a good guy, socialist, but that's okay. What the hell? You get along with people. Well, I got along with a lot of them, but I was the toughest president on Russia. I stopped the pipeline. They always say, he was very nice to Russia. No, I was the worst to Russia, but I got along with Putin. We got along. It's nice to get along with somebody that has a nuclear capability, right? It is. I got along with him. But he said, I'd hate like hell to see if you weren't nice, because if you're the nicest, I ended the biggest job they've ever done, the pipeline. When Biden came in, he approved it. And then they say, he was soft on Russia. I was the worst on Russia. By the way, Russia would have never attacked Ukraine if I were president. Never. Not even a possibility. And Israel wouldn't have happened. The October 7th would have never happened. They would have, because Iran was broke under me. I said to China, I said to everybody, every nation, you want to buy from Iran, you want to buy oil, you'll never do business in the United States again. And they didn't want to take a chance, and they didn't. And Iran was broke. They had no money for terror. But we did a hell of a job, and people are realizing it, and I think that's why we're up in just about every poll, nationally, swing states, and now even your state. That was a big story, because it came out 2 days ago, and it showed we were 1 point down. Another one came out, we were 1 point up. But when it came out that in Minnesota we're tied or up a little bit or maybe down just a little bit, everyone was so impressed. And I'm saying, why wouldn't we be up a lot? I have a friend. He's a very smart guy, but not political. And I had a poll come out last week. I'm up 8 over Biden nationally. But his attitude was, could I ask you a question? How could you only be up 8 points on this guy? That was a question I get a lot. It's almost embarrassing, to be honest with you. Crooked Joe came in and turned our country into a dumping ground for other nations. They dump everything right into our country. In Venezuela, violent crime was 67% 2 months ago. It's now 72%. It's down. Violent crime in Venezuela is down 72% because they're taking their gangs and inmates and criminals and drug dealers and mental patients and people from all sorts of institutions that are trouble, and they deposit them in the wonderful USA. They're dumping everybody into the USA. Pretty soon we're going to say, let's go for a vacation to Venezuela because it's safer than the United States. And I'm serious. It is so terrible what they're doing. They're dumping from all over the world. The Congo, they come from the Congo, from prisons in the Congo, in Africa. But they're coming from Africa, they're coming from Asia, they're coming from all over the world, they're coming from the Middle East. And they're coming from really bad places, and they're putting them in our beautiful country. They're destroying our country. This idiot, this stupid, stupid man is destroying our country. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just days ago, an illegal alien was arrested in the sanctuary state of California. Isn't that wonderful, sanctuary? Sounds so nice, isn't it? Sanctuary. And charged with sadistically raping 2 women last week in the back of a windowless van that police said was disgustingly outfitted as a, quote, a rape dungeon on wheels. That's what it was. They went around raping women all over the place. Nobody did anything about it. Detectives believe this monster had many more victims whom he drove late at night into remote mountain areas and in many cases would kill them. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of our American suburbs, cities, and towns. We're going to stop it fast. We will shut down immediately all deadly sanctuary cities. We're going to close them down. And you know, the people in sanctuary states, they don't want them. They really don't want them. It's not so bad. If you would have said that 5 years ago, 7 years ago, but the people, they don't want them. They don't want that. They don't want sanctuary cities. It's the politicians that do. Somehow it's good politically. I don't actually think it is, but we're going to shut them down. I'll shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. I came in and saved a couple of your cities. Remember that? You remember that, right? Remember, I came in with a big force that we saved. In Minneapolis, we really saved. Remember that idiot from CNN? Oops, I shouldn't say that. I'm doing a debate for them. They'll be slightly tougher. No, I have fake Tapper as the, they said, I just want to debate this guy, but, you know, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too, by the way. I am. No, I really am. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union. He was high as a kite. I said, is that Joe up there? A beautiful robe? And by the end of the evening, he's like, well, it was exhausted, right? Now, we're going to demand a drug test. But Fake Tapper and these people, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fair. I think they're going to be fair. And if they're not, you know, you have to deal with it, right? You have to deal with it. But I just wanted to accept. And, you know, the only one he wanted to do it on basically CNN and another one, we get to 2 of them, I guess. And they just agreed or something to a vice president debate. I said, how can I have a vice president debate? I haven't even picked the gentleman or woman yet. I haven't picked. A lot of people think it's that guy right there. I don't know who the hell it is. He'd be very good. We have a lot of them would be good, Doug, right? We have a lot of good people. But as you may know, in addition to the millions of people pouring across our border, Joe Biden is now reportedly planning to bring in massive numbers of Gazans from the Middle East and resettle them in American communities. I can't believe you don't, with Tlaib and AOC +3 and all of these things, you don't like that. I'm surprised in Minnesota. I thought you were a very liberal place. I thought you were very liberal. I'm so surprised, so disappointed. You've had enough, right? You've had enough. They're saying in Minnesota, I've done my share. Let's end this stuff. Let's end it. And now it's pretty amazing, actually. How about where they were flying them? Did you see it got caught 2 months ago? Everyone's, you know, they're pouring through. But then we found out that they're flying them over the border, freely flying thousands and thousands of people over the borders into little towns and states, great states, that they didn't do anything to deserve this, and they're being swamped now. I just don't understand the thinking, you know. We're really, you know, some people say you're conservative. I say, yeah, I'm conservative, I guess, but I'm really more of a common sense person. I think we're the party of common sense. I'd almost rather... and that means you need borders, you need a strong military, you need good education, try and get low interest rates, low taxes. But basically, it's sort of mostly common sense. Like, We just went over men and women's sports. We don't want to have men and women's sports. It's actually very dangerous. You know, women are being very badly hurt. Now they want to do boxing. They want to have women in boxing. You can't do these things, okay? You can't do these things. And professional boxers know it very well because they play around. They say, you can't have women in boxing. But they actually want to have women in boxing. The whole thing is crazy. And I think, you know, we're really the party of common sense. I'm making a speech in a week to the let's see, what would I call it? A couple of parties that generally don't vote for us, but they would be with us. They vote for that party. And I'm making a speech. It's a little bit of a secret right now, but I'm making a speech to a certain group of people that get 3 or 4%. You know who I'm talking about, right? The libertarians, they're great people, and they are based largely on common sense. And I say, you know, they get 3 or 4%. The libertarians get 3 or 4% every year, no matter who runs. And every one of those votes is a Republican vote. Wouldn't you say? I mean, I think every one of those votes, Mr. Chairman, is a Republican vote. And I'm going to say, why aren't we doing this together? Why are we doing this? You know, you're going to get your 3%, you're going to feel wonderful, but you're not going to get anything. There's no value in that. But you add that 3% to us, and we can't lose. We'll win by record numbers. And that's basically my speech. It's very simple. That's basically my speech. But they'll be coming from one of the biggest terrorist havens on the planet, the place where the October 7th attack was planned. I mean, they're coming in from places like that, and they're coming into our country. And they launched the attack right from the areas where they're coming into our country. It's not, we can't let this happen. We have to stop it. We're not going to have a country. We're poisoning our country. These people will be impossible to vet. The vast majority support Hamas, and even neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan don't want them. You know, Jordan doesn't want them. Egypt doesn't want them. They don't want them. But crooked Joe Biden says, we'll take them here. It's nothing but trouble. You know, you've heard the snake quite a bit, right? Everybody heard the snake. I should have brought it. I should have done the snake. But basically, you take snakes, and you're going to get bit. And we're taking people that are people that other people don't want, and I guess for a reason. You know, neighbors don't want to take them, any of them. And it's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing. But we have to be very, very vigilant. Look, we have a country that's very fragile. We have a country that could very quickly end up in World War III because we have stupid people running our country. We were guaranteed no wars. All of these things wouldn't have happened. Think of it. Ukraine wouldn't have happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. Israel attack wouldn't have happened. None of it would have happened. President Xi wouldn't be flying planes all over the place over Taiwan. He wasn't going to do that. He would have never done that with me as president. And everybody admits it. Even the Democrats admit it. But it's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us, and they know that we are the only ones who can stop them. You know, this MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, Joe. You know the way he says, we're going to stop the MAGA movement. He doesn't have any idea what MAGA means. No, he has no idea what MAGA means. We will stop the MAGA movement. Pause. Oh, pause. Remember that one? This is what we're dealing with. And you know, in the debate, you know this, we'll have debates. I think, you know, we're going to have this debate. We'll sort of. If he makes it through the debate, and I think he will, they'll say it was the finest debate performance in history. There was no way that Trump could have competed with the intellect. This is the greatest ever. I watched after that horrible State of the Union speech on CNN and MSDNC, where they go. That's MS, Democratic National Committee, for those of you that aren't very, MSDNC. It is MSDNC. Terrible people. Terrible, terrible, sick people. But I watched where they were saying how great this was. This was the greatest performance since FDR. You know, FDR had the golden tone. And he would sit up and he'd give a State of the Union speech. FDR, beautiful voice, beautiful, very highly educated guy, and beautiful tone. We will fight, and nobody will beat us. We will fight and fight and fight. And, you know, he'd do it so beautifully. And then Joe Biden, do you ever notice he's always like, How the hell did this ever happen to our country? I was always coughing, but it's not like a cough. He puts his hand up. Then he walks out and he starts shaking people's hands. I don't want to shake. Do you ever notice how many people don't want to shake his hand? The people don't want to shake his hand. It's disgusting. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we are not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. Counting on you. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you have a lot of spirit in this room, you know. You're sitting on a wild pony. Chairman, you're sitting on a wild pony. You got to pull that pony. You got to get it going. Everybody has to get out and vote. That's the big thing. They told me to say that, sir, could you please say, because we have a lot of people, you know, some people, they love us, but they don't tend to vote. I don't know, for whatever reason. But they love us more than they've ever loved anybody, but they don't vote. We got to get them out to vote. We do that, then they can cheat a little bit at least, you know, because they will cheat a little bit. You know, you can't stop them. I saw a news announcer the other night on television. They were talking about a certain state. And they said, well, you have to win it by at least 5 or 6 points more because they cheat. And they're talking about this on like a program. I say, isn't that terrible when they're allowed to say that, where they're allowed to say that you have to win by 6 points because they cheat? So we can't do that, but we're going to get everybody out to vote. There's more spirit now than there was in 2016 or 2020, and we got a lot of votes. By a lot. Because they've had 4 years of watching. You know, when I did 2016, the border was a big issue. I almost got elected on the border, and the border was bad. But it was nothing compared to this. It was like a peanut. It was like 5% compared to this. I fixed the border, and the border in 2020 was not an issue. Just wasn't an issue. I used to tell my people, backstage, these genius people, I say, I want to talk about the border. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. You fixed it. I said, isn't that lousy? You do a good job. You can't talk about it anymore. But we still got millions of votes more. But I couldn't talk because we fixed it. But this border is many times worse. This isn't just a little bit. This is many, many times worse than it was. It was peanuts compared to what it is now. This is the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a country in history that had a border like this that's leaking. And we have at least 15 or 16 million people. That's bigger than almost every state. We have at least 15 or 16 million people. It could be much higher than that. Have poured into our country, and we have no idea who they are. And bad things are going to happen, and we have to get them out of here fast because bad things are going to happen. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. I really do, actually. You're lucky to have me instead of some stiff that would crawl into a corner. They'd crawl into a corner. Mommy, I don't like this job. Mommy, take me home, they'd say. It's so much fun. Darling, I have a little bad news for you. Go home to our great First Lady, who says hello, by the way. They love our First Lady. I had my very tall son today he graduated from high school. All 6'9". 6'9". He was easy to spot. You look over there, and you have this one kid like 6'9". But he got good marks. He's a good boy. It was a big day, actually. You know, for a while the judge said you can't go to your son's graduation. But it was a lot of people not happy about that. But it was a beautiful thing to watch. But if you think about what we're doing and what I'm doing, I'm being indicted for you. And never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. True. Thank you. Thank you. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, They're not really after me. They're after you, and I'm just standing in their way, and I always will. I'll be standing right in their way. They're not doing anything to you. From the very first day that we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden, I believe we're going to see some of the greatest years ahead ever, with so much potential in our country that's untapped. They've just turned off everything. They've turned on a lot of things, and they're all bad. Everything they did was just bad. In my first 4 years, we ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made in the history of our country, and replaced it. Everyone said, you'll never be able to end it. We got it ended by Congress, right, Pete? And replaced it with the brand new USMCA, the best trade deal ever made. It's a fantastic, giant win for Minnesota farmers and dairy producers and manufacturers and everyone else. And I know it's good because Mexico and Canada are dying to change it. They're trying to get to change. And this guy will probably give them a change. Don't do it, Joe. Don't do it. I took on communist China like no administration in history, bringing hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury when no other president had gotten even 10 cents from, not 10 cents from China. And I think I made people aware that China is a threat, certainly an economic threat. And we took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I then gave $28 billion, as I said, to the farmer. And in my next term, I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. You know what that is? If China or any other country makes us pay a single dime, if they make us pay, let's say 100 or 200% tariff, which they do, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100 or 200% right back. In other words, you screw us and we screw you. And, you know, a lot of politicians, a lot of senators, one of them is not that much into the economic world. And I said, I want your support. We were all set to do that until COVID came in. Then we had to focus on the COVID stuff, which was a terrible, gift from China. And we did a great job on it with the therapeutics and everything else. But and when we left, the stock market was higher than it was pre-COVID. I mean, it was sort of an amazing thing. We did a good job on it. We never got credit. I got credit for the military. I got credit for knocking out ISIS, Soleimani, al-Baghdadi. I got a lot of credit, Space Force. But we never got credit for the job we did. With this unknown dust that happened to fly in from China, the pandemic, as they call it, COVID, as I call it, the China virus. We want to be accurate. A gift from China. But unlike Joe Biden, who will destroy Medicare and Social Security with his border invasion, when you let millions of people come into our country, you're destroying Medicare, you're destroying your hospitals, you're destroying Social Security. I'll always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. They deserve it. They deserve it. They have to be protected. We'll never change it. And I didn't change it. We've also gotten abortion out of the federal government and back to the states, which is a very big thing. Something we have to talk about. There's a lot of Republican politicians really don't know how to talk about it. If you remember when you look at Roe v. Wade, the big thing was getting it out of the federal government. Every legal scholar, every legal analyst, everybody wanted it back. Democrats wanted it. Everybody wanted it back. And we got it back. We took it back and we put it into the hands of the states. And now it's up to the people. The people are voting all over the country. They just voted in Ohio. And frankly, it was a more liberal vote than a lot of people thought. But what it is it's the vote of the people. They just voted in Kansas. It was a far more, I won both those states by a lot, but it was a far more liberal vote. And in some cases, you have a little bit of the opposite. But we took it out of the federal government where it never belonged. And this used to be only a question of, will it be in the federal government? Is it in the federal government? Nobody wanted it in the federal. They wanted it back in the states. And now the states are deciding. And I think we've made an issue that was a very nasty issue, a very complex issue, very bad issue, frankly. I think we've made it much simpler, and I think we've made it much more fair. If the radical Democrat extremists get their way, they will have a federal law for abortion in the 7th, 8th, 9th month, and even executing a baby after birth. If you remember the former governor, Democrat of Virginia, he said, we'll talk to the mother, we'll talk to the father, If the baby's born, we'll put the baby aside. And then essentially said we'll execute the baby after birth. We'll make a decision on what to do with the baby. We don't want that. They're the radical ones. We're not the radical ones. They're the radical ones, and you have to remember it. And you also have to remember that every voter has to go with your heart. You have to go with your heart and your beliefs and do what's right. But you have to think about one thing. We have to get elected. You have to get elected. And if you can't get elected, then not only the abortion issue, but you have many, many other issues that are very powerful, very big issues, like issues that run our country. We have to get elected. So I want to thank the 6 Supreme Court Justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett for the wisdom and the courage that they showed on this long-term, very contentious issue. And getting it back to the states puts the question where it belongs with a vote of the people. It puts it really where it belongs, the vote of the people. And it's really, it's been sort of amazing because it's really calmed down a lot. I think you see that, Tom. It's calmed down a lot. It's now a vote of the people, and our country can finally come together. This issue has been going along for 51 years, and it's been very, very nasty. It's been a rough issue. And until maybe 10 years ago, all they talked about was they wanted to get it back to the states. We brought it back to the states, and now the states are deciding, and people are coming together. So it's very interesting to watch, actually, but I want to thank the justices. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, we win. It's all of us. We're going to win it together. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I know both of them very well. And we will build a great iron dome over our country, a dome like has never been seen before. A state-of-the-art missile defense shield that will be entirely built in America and create jobs. And much of it will be built actually in a place called Minnesota. A lot of it's going to be built right here. One of the nations that are big. But don't you think, I watch Israel and I watch those rockets go up, 300 rockets go up, and virtually every one of them is knocked down. Well, we're a big target. And the level of power, the level of power of these weapons, especially the nuclear weapons, the power is so incredible. We deserve to have a dome like other countries have domes, like Israel has a dome. Think of Israel without the dome, without the Iron Dome or whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. And it was largely manufactured and it was largely conceived by us. We can do something that was so incredible. It really will be a safety net, and I think we deserve to have it. And again, it's made in the USA. It really works. I mean, they shot down every missile. Maybe one got through, but they shot down close to 300 missiles. Now, think of what would happen if they didn't have it. 300 missiles. You might not even have in Israel right now. We need that same kind of protection for ourselves. We have to have it, and we'll do it, and we'll do it at the highest level. It'll be an amazing thing. We're going to give our police back their protection, and we're going to give them back their respect. As president, when the rioters came to burn down Minneapolis, I insisted on sending in the National Guard to save the city. I saved your city. Remember, though? Velchi. Remember Velchi? This is a peaceful protest. This is largely peaceful. The entire city was burning down behind you. Remember the scene? The fire looked like it went for miles. He's saying, this is a peaceful protest. And then somebody threw something, hit him on the leg, and he went down, right? He went down. He's down. It's a peaceful. It was real peaceful. You lost half your damn city. If you didn't have me as president, you wouldn't have Minneapolis today. And you wouldn't have had a couple of other cities that we saved, or little beautiful areas that we saved. We saved them for you. But I'll never forget the scene of this guy screaming that this is peaceful. It's peaceful. And people are throwing everything at him, including bullets. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where are they coming from? Under my leadership, we will stand up to the radical Marxist DAs who have set loose thousands of dangerous, horrible, dangerous criminals onto our streets. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they've ever been before. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, and it will be safe for people of Minnesota to go and see those wonderful monuments to monumental people. It will be safe. It's a cesspool of crime and graffiti right now. You have to see our capital, what happened to our capital. We're going to clean it up, make it more beautiful than it ever was, be the most beautiful capital in the world. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. Yeah. And I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And as you've already heard tonight, I will keep men immediately out of women's sports. Is that okay? I will fully uphold our great but very under siege Second Amendment. We're going to withhold the powers and the beauty of our Second Amendment. We need our Second Amendment probably more than we've ever needed it before. It's under siege. Tomorrow I go to Texas. I go to Dallas, and I'm speaking before the NRA, and there's a rumor that they're going to give me their full endorsement, so that's a nice endorsement to get. That's a rumor. I don't know anything. I don't know it. I don't know. Don't say it. It's only a rumor. Maybe they're going to give it to Doug. Who the hell knows? We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech. And I will secure our elections. So importantly, you have to have borders, and you have to have free, fair elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. We will have voter ID. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win to put us in that position where we can make these changes. They're not drastic changes. You know, I've negotiated over the last number of years with the Democrats about voting, and they never want to give up on something called voter ID. Can you believe it? Just a little tag like, this is me, this is I want to vote. Pictures sort of look similar. It doesn't even have to be perfect. We'll take anything. They don't want to give it up. You know why? Because they want to cheat. They want to cheat. There's only one reason. We won't give you voter ID. The meeting started off, all right, we're all set to start, sir, but we will not give up on voter ID. Why? Because you're cheaters, that's why. The meeting, it starts there and it ends there when they don't want to give up voter ID. We want a landslide in your state, and we want a landslide in our nation. We have a chance to have it. That is too big to rig. Okay? Too big to rig. Remember, I used to say 5. I used to say 5. This was 6 months ago. Now I say 10, and I think I could make it probably 20. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. It's true. You take the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country, the 10 worst, they will not have done the damage that this guy has done to our country. Just on the border alone, what he's done. Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. That's not even possible to think a thing like that could happen. He took the soldiers out first. No, you stupid guy. You take the soldiers out last. And I was all set to do it. We were leaving with dignity and strength. 21 years was enough. But we were keeping Burgum because it's 1 hour away, as I said, from China's where they make their nuclear weapons. but we were going to leave with dignity and strength. Instead, we left $85 billion worth of equipment behind. We lost America. We left Americans. Right now, they're behind. Right now, there's hundreds of Americans that didn't get out. And we lost 13 unbelievable soldiers and 38 horrifically wounded that nobody ever talks about. Horrifically wounded. No legs, no arms, the face, everything. And that's what happened to us because we're stupid. We were run by stupid people. You know, I dealt with the head of the Taliban, which is really the ones that do the killing and the ones that run Afghanistan. I dealt with, his name was Abdul. And I said, Abdul, don't kill our people anymore. Don't do it. And I can't really explain it. This is too tough. But I said, we will hit you so hard, harder than we've ever hit anybody, Abdul. Don't do it. But why do you send me a picture of my home? He said to me. He said, Abdul, you have to ask one of your wives on that. I'm not giving it to you. But I said, we will hit you so hard. And you know what? For 18 months, we didn't have one soldier killed in Afghanistan. Not even a soldier shot at. And then we had a rigged election. Biden took over. We had a rigged election, really big, badly rigged. Biden took over. And look at what's happened to our country. But just there, when they saw this guy, they went wild. And don't kid yourself, when Putin saw that horrible withdrawal, that stupid, incompetent withdrawal, Milley and all these guys that didn't know what the hell they were doing, when he saw that, he said, wow, these guys are incompetent. Now I can finally go in and do my number on Ukraine, which was always the apple of his eye, but he would have never done that if it was me. But we would have never given him the power to do it. The other thing that did was energy. The energy went up to close to $100 a barrel. So all of a sudden he's making a fortune by going into a war. And we allowed that to happen because we had people running that are grossly incompetent. And don't kid yourself, the biggest risk we have is the next 5 months. We have 5 months of danger to our country. We could end up in World War III because of this lunatic. We could end up in World War III, and I mean it. And one thing you'll never have with me, you'll never have a war. You know, Viktor Orban, he's the head of, you know that, Hungary, very tough guy, considered to be very tough. He's the prime minister of Hungary. They said, what's going on with the world? The world is coming between Israel and Ukraine and China flying planes all over Taiwan. You can see they're just itching to take that one. What's going on? He said, only one thing, Trump isn't here. If Trump was here, none of this would be happening. He said they were afraid of Trump. I don't want to use that language because I don't want people to think, oh, they're afraid of Trump. But they respected me. But he said, no, Trump, they were afraid of Trump. They didn't know what the hell to do with Trump. They would have never done it. And it is true. There's no way Putin would have gone in. There's no way she would be doing what he's doing right now. And October 7th, that would have never happened. And you know what else? A little something to add on. You wouldn't have had inflation. We had no inflation because our energy prices were low. The energy caused the inflation when it went up so much. So if you want to save America, register, get an absentee or a mail-in ballot, vote early, and vote on Election Day. You have to. Whether you vote early or not, you know, people are disputing, well, I want to vote on Tuesday. A lot of Republicans want. But whether you do it early, you vote on Tuesday, you got to make sure you go and vote. You got to get out and vote. You got to get people that love us. They love everything we say, but they're just not used to voting. They're just not used to. They have to do it. You know, it's an amazing thing. People that have guns, people that legitimately have guns, they love guns and they use guns for the right purpose. And these are not criminals, but they tend to vote very little. And yet they have to vote for us. There's nobody else to vote for because the Democrats want to take their guns away, and they will take their guns away. So you got to get all your friends that love us, respect us, but they just typically don't vote. Members of the NRA. That's why I'm going to be talking to the NRA tomorrow. I say you got to get out and vote. This year election season in Minnesota begins on September 20th and goes all the way to November 5th. Isn't that ridiculous, by the way? You know what that does? It gives them the right to cheat because all those days, all those weeks and weeks and weeks, and those ballots are sitting on the floor with water pouring all over them, and they shovel them. You ever see it? It's like we're like a third world country. This is going to be the most important election in the history of our country. I believe that so much. I used to say it with 2016, and I believed it, and then we straightened it out. We had a great economy. We rebuilt our military. We did so much. We created Space Force. We did so much. And I didn't have to say it in 2020. I didn't consider that the most important election. This is the most important election by far that we've ever had. Much more important than 2016. And in conclusion, today we're taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents, people that people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like what's happening. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget this is not a nation that belongs to them. This is a nation that totally belongs to you. It belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. From Rochester to Duluth, from Marshall to Minneapolis, and from St. Cloud to St. Paul, this state has pioneered. I mean, you have been pioneered by men and women who braved the wilderness and the frontier to build a life for themselves and their families, and they love your state and they love our country. They were farmers and miners and manufacturers and shipbuilders, soldiers and lumberjacks, and they helped build this country into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence and willpower and strength. Think of that. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation. We were respected all over the world. Everybody respected us, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. We don't have a choice. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media. We will drain the swamp, and we will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Like those patriots before us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, and we will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever, ever back down. With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict the worst president in the history of our country from the White House on November 5th, 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. Like 4 years ago, you were not forgotten, but you are forgotten now. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Minnesota. God bless you, everybody. God bless you. God bless you, man. Thank you.
up our coverage from Minnesota for the Minnesota GOP Lincoln-Reagan dinner. We want to thank our friends over at Tax Network USA. Remember, if you have any tax issues, you owe back taxes, doesn't matter the amount or how long it's been, those guys can really take the anxiety out of owing back taxes. The information for that is on your screen. Also, freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com. The website says it all. It tells you the truth on the accomplishments of President Trump, and you kind of weeds through all of the misinformation that is online. Your kids are getting it from the University of TikTok and others. Go check it out, freetrumpbook.com. Plus, you want to stay safe, and the Wellness Company has this great emergency medical kit. So I urge you to take advantage of the specials that we have right now when you put that promo code in there. The information for that is on your screen as well. The Wellness Company's emergency medical kit. Lastly, our friends at the Birch Gold Group. Gold has seemed to be a very safe place to put your investments. We don't know what the future holds in this country and the global markets, with inflation really affecting everybody. Our friends at the Birch Gold Group want to make it really easy to take that first step in gold, silver, precious metals. The information for that as well is on your screen. All right, programming note, we are live in Dallas on Saturday for the NRA convention. President Trump to speak there mid-afternoon. I'll have live coverage from there as well. All right, from Minnesota, we say so long, everybody. Good night. God bless. We'll see you next time.
Parents and grandparents, the 2024 Kids Guide to President Trump is here, and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets a free issue of Everbright Kids Magazine and Activity Book, and a free video lesson. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I'm the host of the Let It Be Heard show here on RSBN channel. I would love for you guys to check me out. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube. We release episodes every single week regarding culture, Bible, social issues, politics, current events, anything. So if you're into any of that stuff, I highly recommend you check me out. God bless you guys, and stay safe out there.
I'm excited to announce we're having a huge MyPillow spring sale, and here's a few examples. Buy one of our MyPillow 2.0s, you get another MyPillow 2.0 absolutely free. Made with cooling technology, the best pillow ever just got even better. And this just in, 9 brand new colors and styles of our Percale bed sheets. They're made with the finest long staple cotton, and now you can save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. And for the first time this year, I'm bringing you our My Slippers and Sandals for as low as $25 a pair. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your MyPillow 2.0s. Buy one, get one free. Percale sheets as low as $24.98. My Slippers and Sandals as low as $25 a pair. And for a limited time, when you order $75 or more, your entire order ships absolutely free.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.